If you're willing to give it.
Yeah, I work for Barton Mallow Company.
Okay, perfect. All right, and I'm Caitlin Bohan. And would you please explain the engineering field you are a part of?
I work in construction engineering, so materials, value engineering, procurement, structural, mechanical, electrical, architectural, and civil. So basically all disciplines of the construction industry.
Awesome. Okay, can you explain how this career has changed and developed over the period of time that you have been associated with it?
It's definitely gotten a lot more competitive. It's um, just from a market standpoint, I'm sure you guys are seeing when our parents grew up, there was a lot of automotive and a lot of, especially in Detroit, it was very automotive based, if you will, and now it's a lot of government funded projects. So government now funds a lot of energy work. So I'm noticing a big change in the type of industry that we do business with. So it kind of started out with a lot with schools and a lot with K through 12 hospitals, which is usually privately funded, um, and as well as public, the school side of it. But with schools, you have to get people to vote. And when the economy is low, a lot of times people don't want their taxes increased. So that's something I've noticed a lack of lately. A lot of projects are a lot more industrial and they're a lot more technical, which usually are government driven, which is like an energy project, for instance, with DTE or Consumers Energy, stuff like that. So definitely a big change in the type of work that is out on the streets now.
Okay, thank you. Um, what devices and programs do you use on a regular daily basis?
I can show you guys. This is my workstation. So this is my computer. A lot of us have dual monitors just because we use some pretty high-tech programs. I use a lot of estimating software, which would be taking items off, pricing them, which would be like MC squared. So anything to develop an estimate. I do scheduling in Primavera P6, SureTrack, also in Project. I use, gosh, I could go on for a while. We use a lot of 3D programs, so CAD, Revit is becoming big, Navisworks. There's also a lot of just technically forward programs that kind of merge all of those programs together. So there's programs like Bluebeam, which would be what you guys might see as an Adobe program, but it's closer to an Acrobat and it's user friendly and you can do more with it. So you could count items, if you will. You can overlay drawings and see where changes were from previous submissions. So
now, have a lot of these come up recently, or are they been used in this field a lot?
The particular programs that I use are probably they're advancing, I would say, but they're very common to the construction industry just because the construction industry tends to be a little more reactive than proactive just because, like I was saying, a lot of the work that we see has to be funded. So we usually react to the economy instead of are able to go out and request a job to be built. We have to wait for owners to have funding and governments to fund projects to be able to perform the work. So the programs in themselves are typically something we've been using a lot, except for the 3D. I would say the 3D stuff is a lot more advanced than what I've seen when I first started my career.
Right, now, talking about your career path, what education path would you recommend for the people who are interested in your career now and trying to get into your career?
I would definitely recommend getting into trades when you're younger. A lot of kids can work construction on the side and do houses, roofing, interiors type stuff, carpentry. It's always good just to understand how the industry works, whether you end up in engineering or actual, construction itself, or the design side of it or the estimating side of it. It's really good to understand how work is put in place. So I would say an undergraduate degree, without a doubt. Unfortunately, you can't really do much without an undergrad degree these days. But any further education programs. Master's degree, I think as long as they're specific to what you want to do in your career, they're helpful. But a lot of what we do here is on-the-job training, and it's, situationally constraining depending on, you learn so many technical things, but when you get to your actual job, a lot of it is so different, and it's the real world, and it's got to be applicable. And a lot of engineering is theory-based. So I would say as much hands-on stuff as you can get, I would take advantage of it.
What about on a middle school and high school level? Like, what classes did you take in high school that might have helped you have your college classes be a little bit easier?
For definitely math and sciences, if you guys can grasp the chemistries and physics and trigs and all of those mathematical type classes early, I think the most important thing is speech classes. No matter what you do, you need to be able to speak to people. You need to be able to communicate effectively, whether it's through email, which I know a lot of your generation is more comfortable with. But when you get into the real world, you have to be able to sit face to face with somebody who may be a lot smarter than you or less intelligent, and be able to convey your message to them no matter what level you're on or they're on. So I think anything communication-wise, in addition to the technical stuff, is always going to be helpful no matter what field you decide.
Right. Can you explain a day in the life of your job, and maybe not necessarily what you do, but on average an industrial engineer, and also the differences between what a normal industrial engineer and you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's kind of, every day's different. So it depends. There's a lot of different realms that you can work in. A lot of the things that I do, I lead a lot of projects in their bid phase. So we propose on a lot of work to win work, and as either a general contractor or to self-perform. So I get to work in the morning, and I usually have meetings set up for the day, and I'll prepare myself for the meetings. As you can see, I'll show you my desk. I have a lot of drawings and spec books that you'll see here. So I do a lot of constructability, scheduling, basically making sure all of the people that are on my team have everything that they need, all the estimators. We have to do a lot of insurance rate quotes, a lot of estimating in general. When you look at it, there's different components of it. There's, your materials, there's your labor, there's your equipment. So I do a lot of keeping up to date with, our production in the field and what we're actually putting in place. I have meetings with architects and other engineers who might be more specified to a certain discipline, like structural, if you will. So where structural engineers will go to work and they'll develop details and drawings and, sort of engineering solutions to projects. I go to work and I test those solutions. I make sure that they work, and I put a price to them and a schedule, and I sort of try to magnify it in a deeper sense and, find a way to be more cost effective, time effective, and overall just team wise, like making sure everyone gets their input, because typically in engineering, it's not just, electrical engineering, for instance. You're being affected by mechanical engineering as well, because a mechanical component usually needs an electrical connection of some sort. So there's a lot of coordination to make sure that whatever that item is, or in that building, whatever they're trying to perform in that space, that they have the right, infrastructure, if you will. So it's a lot of coordination, a lot of meetings.
So I would say being able to work with a team is very important. What other characteristics would you think that people trying to get into this career would need?
You have to be able to look at a problem from multiple perspectives. In construction or engineering in general, there's always more than one way to do something. So a lot of the times you'll come across people who have worked on certain jobs. For instance, let's say they've built a hospital before. So they know that something can get built in place a certain way and that's going to be successful. And a lot of the times they get caught up in that mindset of that's the only way to do it. When you get into this industry and when you're an industrial engineer, you have to be able to work with all different realms of engineering, not just electrical, not just mechanical, not just civil or structural or architectural. You have to be able to look at this system, the whole building or whatever it is that you're building, an assembly line. You have to be able to look at it from all different areas and how whatever decision you're making engineering-wise, how it's going to affect everybody involved. So it's a whole design concept instead of just parts and pieces like most engineers typically focus on. So that's what an industrial engineer more focuses on.
And what would you say is the most impressive or exciting part of your day, or what is the most interesting thing that you've done?
The most interesting thing that I've done is probably worked on the Daytona 500 project. So it was anything in the hundreds of millions of dollar range, where you have a renovation in a stadium where there's 100,000 people walking through the doors, while you have cranes and you have, scaffolding and structural steel being erected, and you have to maintain the safety and the logistics of that existing building, if you will, or building a hospital where there's patients on the floor below you, but you're ripping out the entire mechanical system and putting a new system in, or renovating an entire floor where there's a NICU, an intensive care unit right below you. Those are the types of projects I think that are the most interesting, just because they're the most challenging.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, and we really appreciate you having us interview
You're welcome.
you. All right.
Let me know if you can do anything else.
Okay, so this is Sarah, who's an industrial engineer, and she explained to you a little bit about what she does on a regular daily basis. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.